Good evening. My name is Kay Autumn, and I'm a member of the Benton Franklin League of Women Voters. Once again, the League is pleased to be partnering with the Tri-City Herald and Richland City View TV in presenting these forums. Richland City View TV is recording the forum, so it can be put on City View Channel 192 beginning next week, and it will play over and over until the election. They will also share it with Charter, and can't remember what their new channel is, but for them to also play it. And you should be able to find this forum on YouTube beginning next week also. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization who neither opposes or supports any candidate. It is our goal and the goal of our partners to provide opportunities for voters to become better informed about the people who are running for public office. Tonight, we're going to hear from the candidates who are seeking the positions of Benton County Commissioner, District 2, Benton County Assessor, and State Representative, Position 2 in the 8th District. Our format tonight will be as follows. Each candidate will be given 2.5 minutes for an opening statement. We'll then have a question and answer period, and we're asking that you limit your answers to 1.5 minutes. And at the end of that, you'll each be asked to give a closing statement, and you have 1.5 minutes for that. We have asked for questions from the audience, although we do have some prepared ourselves, and so far I could see that 3 of the ones you turned in were ones that we also wanted to know about, so it might not be your exact wording, but it's the same question. If at any time you have a question, hold it up on the little card, and one of the members of League will get it from you and get it up to me. You guys both saw the timer. She's going to hold that up when you have 15 seconds left, and then a stop sign. Don't feel you need to stop mid-sentence. Just complete your thought, and we'll move on.
You don't have a baseball bat, right?
No baseball bat.
Yeah.
I asked the candidates for each race their birthdays, figuring whoever had the birthday closest to mine would go first on their opening statement. So, Mr. Dalton's birthday is July 31st, and Mr. Small's is October 21st. Mine is November 12th. So you get to go first.
So I'm the winner?
You are the winner. You get to begin with your opening statement, and then I'm just going to go kind of alphabetically back and forth for the questions. So your opening statement, please.
You gonna yell at me? All right. Anyway, yes, my name is Sean Small, and as your Benton County Commissioner, we have built the foundation of a new generation of leadership of the local government here in Benton County. For those who don't know who I am, I have over 20 years of law enforcement experience. I started my career actually with Prosser Police Department back in 1988 and got on with the Benton County Sheriff's Office in 1990. During the 20 years of my experience, I've had the opportunity to work the road. I worked the Metro Drug Task Force. I was in the detectives, and this also gave me an opportunity to work with the different departments within Benton County, from Public Works, Human Services, and the Planning Department, just to name a few. With this experience, it's really enlightened me as far as what goes on with the Benton County. And I think that is a very important portion of having an elected official know what's going on, the roots of where we came from. And I'm very proud to say that during my 20 plus years of experience is that I've had the opportunity to meet people from all walks of life, from farmers to businessmen to everyone else in between, from Findlay, clear down to Crow Butte, to McNary Dam, to the Vernita Bridge. So I feel it actually has given me a very rounded idea of the demands and the needs of Benton County. And during the last 4 years as your Benton County Commissioner, we've done great things with the assistance of other elected officials. I think you've even noticed that in the last 4 years, this is the best the Benton County Commissioners have ever gotten along, I would say at least in 20 years, to include a very strong relationship with the other elected officials. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background, 2 years ago, we actually were finishing our biennium budget, and we're $2.7 million in the hole. We worked as a collective unit and was able to make those cuts, but we still were able to provide the services that the citizens of Benton County expect to have. We have a lot more work to do. We've invested a lot of money in the IT department, which that right there is tomorrow's future. And with your vote, we'll be able to continue those goals and go on. And thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Dalton.
Great, thank you very much. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, Tri-City Herald, for having us here tonight. I'm running for Benton County Commissioner to bring accountability, accessibility, and responsibility to county government. I believe my opponent, has lapsed in several areas over the past 4 years. Failure to focus on water issues, economic development, and zoning issues critical to the quality of life in Benton County. Water is a very important natural resource affecting economic development. But unlike his predecessor, he has failed to serve on water-related committees. If I'm elected, I will monitor this very important commodity. I have a background working with farmers, running the Pasco Farmers Market, dealing with from farmers from Moses Lake down into Hermiston, throughout the area. I spent 3 years working for Columbia Crest as production coordinator for the vineyard. So I'm very familiar with large-scale farming operations and small-scale farming operations. Another area of economic development over the next 10 years will be Vista Field. My opponent has deferred this to another commissioner due to a lack of economic development experience. I'm certified through National Main Street in economic development. I've also attended the Northwest Economic Development courses. Through this, I'm a strong supporter of zoning. And I believe that the commission failed when they failed to put a moratorium on Initiative 509, or 502, in Benton County. Zoning out and looking at the zoning. Right now we have serious problems created by it. We have county residential families that their kids are waiting for the bus beside marijuana grow operations. That's not an area that I want to see our kids grow up in. I didn't want that for my kids, and I don't want that for future generation kids. I have over 40 years experience living in Benton County. My wife Kimberly and I have raised our family here. I've served to protect our country as a veteran in the United States Marine Corps. I know what it means to serve, and I'm prepared to serve Benton County to protect our quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move to question and answers. And I did forget to do one thing. Since you won, I really was supposed to say, do you want to go first or second? Not just you got to. But I'll ask you this next part. What would you have chosen?
I would like to do the closing.
First or second?
I'd like to be the very last one.
Okay.
Not the second one.
Okay. I'll do it right for the other two. Okay. Okay. Our first question, this is from the audience on the public safety tax that we all voted on in the primary. And someone sent in a question from the audience. I'm going to read the question that we had prepared on that same subject. Benton County voters recently passed a public safety levy that includes funding for supporting many programs, including a mental health court, gang prevention programs, etc. There is some concern that over time the taxes generated by this levy may drift into the general fund or other programs. What steps will you take to make sure that doesn't happen? And Mr. Dalton, please go first.
Oh, great. Thank you very much for the question. I believe that there is a serious concern with supplanting money from the public safety tax. That with the tax, that there were no performance audits associated with it. My opponent's going to say that they do fiscal audits for the county every year, that they've had great fiscal audits. Performance audit is not the same as a financial audit. Performance audit would look at the fact that if Kennewick said that they're going to hire 12 new officers, to make sure that if you lost 4, you hired 12, you have a setback of 8, or you have a setback. I want to make sure that the numbers actually meet where they are. That, you know what, when we're looking at the drug court issues and some of those sort of situations, I want to see what it's actually costing to help a person. A financial audit just says, hey, do you have a receipt to go with that expenditure? I want to know the number of people that are being helped and hold them accountable for that. When I look through the Citizens for Safe Community, it was sold under gang prevention. The only area that's mentioned in gang prevention is in a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. There is no gang task force associated. All the law enforcement is they talk about street officers or foot officers on the street. There is no gang task force mentioned in this bill. So I want to see performance measures associated with it.
Thank you. Mr. Small?
Thank you. And very good question. First of all, just so people understand, when it comes down to the criminal justice tax that will be implemented January, we actually will not be receiving any funds from that. And how this actually works, and I'll go ahead and follow this up. How that actually works is basically the taxes that are created, or as far as the revenue that we start receiving, will actually be going up to Olympia, and then actually it will come back here. We actually will not receive money in the hand till just about March or April, right around there. And what we've actually done is we're creating a line item that specifically states criminal justice. So therefore these funds cannot just automatically just kind of drift over to the main course of the revenue. These funds right here, we're going to stay right here on this line item, where we just can't grab $100,000, $200,000 and put them somewhere over here in the general fund. That is not correct, and that will not happen. Now, in regards to performance audits, there's actually pros and cons in regards to the performance audits. One, the cost. Where's those funds going to be coming from to actually cover the cost of the performance audit? And actually, what true benefit is there? I've actually done some checking on this thing, and this is something that we've looked at and have considered, and is still actually on the table about even looking at a performance audit. And the biggest thing is just know that we're going to be looking in the beginning and the end how these funds are spent and how this actually is making a benefit to the citizens, and you in 10 years can actually vote if you want to continue that or not. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go next to an audience question. Since you are first, Mr. Small, on this one, because I want to remind the audience, please ask questions that both candidates can answer. I'm assuming you know about this because you mentioned it when you were talking about the Boys and Girls Club. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to ask him first. This question says, tell us about the $500,000 earmarked for the Boys and Girls Club. Why wasn't this made public knowledge prior to the vote? It's from the audience. Does that make sense?
As far as the $500 on Boys and Girls Club, I don't believe that is correct.
500,000.
Excuse me, 500,000. I don't believe that is actually an accurate number. I do know that we're going to be actually assisting the Boys and Girls Club for at least $50,000. That's going to be going over there.
Okay, and did you have something else to comment on that?
Oh, yes, definitely. I have the Safe Community, or Citizens for Safe Community, and right here under total funding proposal that it is $500,000 partnership with the Boys and Girls Club and other programs. $50,000 is going to Safe Harbor, my friend's place, which is very much, it's a great thing, but we're looking at nonprofits here that we're allocating money for. And with this, what this bill doesn't do is it doesn't say, do they come one time? Or is this a come one time, get funded for 10 years? It's put under, this is the one thing that is under gang and crime prevention and intervention. And that with this, that they have similar programs associated with it, but it's still one of those things that in 2 years, if there's another program that comes down that does a better job, that's where we have to be able to look at performance audits and be able to determine that, does this money need to go somewhere else, or is this money working? What is performance measure to achieve this, to look at this and see whether this money is being allocated properly.
Okay, did you have something else you wanted to say on that?
I do.
Okay,
And I-
let's give him a minute and then another minute if needed.
I just want to make sure that we're clear. I mean, my challenger wound up actually making a comment about the Boys and Girls Club, about the $500,000 and other establishments. So therefore, that means that not just $500,000 is going to the Boys and Girls Club. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Dalton, did you have anything else?
Oh, it's clearly here, yeah, but the primary is because of the people that were really sitting on the committee, that was the primary purpose for this, was the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, thank you both. Our next question, we will begin with Mr. Dalton. This is another one that the audience asked, and I will read you. Proposition 14.7 is an advisory measure on the ballot that asks voters whether or not the Benton County Commissioners should levy a tax to create a conservation futures fund. It states, we'll educate the voters here, says, should the Board of County Commissioners create a conservation futures fund exclusively for purposes of acquiring parkland and open space, protecting water quality, preserving agricultural land, conserving wildlife habitat, and increasing outdoor recreation opportunities, and levy a conservation futures property tax of 6 1/4 cents per $1,000 of assessed valuation for 10 years. That would be $12.50 per year for a $200,000 home, with expenditures reviewed by a citizens committee and annual audits required. So our question to you is, the results of this vote are not binding on the commissioners. If it does pass, will you work to see that such a tax is levied?
There are several kind of areas of concern that I have with 14.7. And number one is that this is a citizens advisory that will be overseeing this, that it should be a commissioner's thing that has the ultimate responsibility. I don't like measures that go out as advisory measures. I want to say, if you want to propose a tax to the people, get an answer. Some of the areas that I have concern about, say this tax or this measure goes out, and we have a 30% return on the ballots, and it gets a 51%. So you had roughly 15% of the people say they want it. I have concerns over that. That if they have it and it's approved, then I would work to approve it. I mean, if somebody's going to ask me my opinion on it, that's what it is. I mean, I'm going to work for the voters, similar to with 502 when 57% said no, they didn't want it. I would work to keep marijuana out of the area.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Small?
No, in fact, Mr. Dalton and I actually share the same thing in regards to the advisory vote. I myself do not like the advisory vote, just for the simple fact that I think it actually, when it's given to the citizens, I don't think they really take a real strong look at an advisory vote versus a true vote. Exactly, if you vote for this, this will happen. So there may be a little bit of a doubt or a hope or something like that when it comes down to advisory votes. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, though, I have educated myself in regards of about this bill, the 14.7. In fact, I was at Ms. Brooke DuBois' house just last week, and I was very impressed in regards of how many people are interested in the conservation, and let alone how many conservation signs there are out here in the county. And the bottom line is that the advisory vote says that it's going to pass at 51, 52% or whatever. The bottom line is that I've done some really big looks on a few things in regards to the people, and it has to be with the vote of the people. So if the people vote this direction, that's the direction we will go.
Thank you. I would remind you both, I know I'm asking you the questions, but the camera's out there.
I think I was looking out there.
Okay. This next question was not from the audience. Please, let's see, and Mr. Small, you'll go first. Please discuss your understanding of the current working relationship between Benton County and Franklin County. How do you see this changing in the years to come?
All in all, the Benton County Commissioners and the Franklin County Commissioners actually have a good relationship. But however, there are some different organizations around there, for instance, Human Services, that I feel very strongly that we may have to take a look at going our separate ways. Just for the simple fact that when it comes down to mental health issues, that is a never-changing, evolving issues that we have to respond, and we have to respond fast. And it's very difficult when we actually are trying to get toward a certain direction, and we cannot even have a board meeting. Case in point, right now, Franklin County does not have, basically they're waiting for the Attorney General to see if even a bi-county meetings are even legal. And with that being said, we cannot go forward and get things done, and it takes a great amount of difficulty to be able to do this. Also, specifically to Human Services, Benton County and Franklin County are almost the only counties in Washington State that actually are a bi-county issue. And I think it'd work very well if we actually separated. And I've actually talked to Human Services, Greater Columbia Behavioral Health, and Franklin County, and expressed to them the best way to make this separation is if those guys contacted Greater Columbia Behavioral Health and basically just signed a contract, and then we would continue to provide services in both Benton and Franklin County. Be pretty seamless.
Thank you. Mr. Dalton?
I don't believe in splitting services. I believe in equal partnerships. That, you know what, you may work with your neighbors and sometimes it may not be equal, but you know what, the law of unintended consequences, if you split up the amount of burden that you will probably end up picking up, you know, we have to work with partnerships. That's what the world is all about today, is building partnerships. And I seriously believe, like Sean mentions, Greater Columbia Behavioral Health, several others with the mental health, that we need not only public, but we also need the private partnerships involved in both areas. That's what we need to see. I am not in favor of starting with public health and looking to see what else we can do. I need to see, how do we sit down, have workshops, and, you know, figure out where we're at, that they don't want to make decisions in Benton County. That's fine. You know what? They may be 30% and want 50% of the voice, but you know what? That this is where you work together and you find common goals. And right now, the most common goal is public health and mental health. That's what we have to be working on and building. And when you're looking at Benton, Franklin County, you're basically, the MSAs are Kennewick, Richland, West Richland, and Pasco. And the people are traveling back and forth so greatly that, you know what, you have to work together with that. That's my belief.
Thank you. Okay, our next question is from the audience. Mr. Dalton, you'll be first. As a county commissioner, how will you help to foster economic development throughout the county? Please be as specific as possible.
As a commissioner, number one goals are we provide the infrastructure that we need to be working with the private sector, which is going to be supplying the jobs. We need to be working to make sure that they have the infrastructure necessary. You know, that we've had the 6-year road plan that previous commissioners prior to my opponent have, implemented, that are working. Those are the things that we need to be working on. One of the other areas, the biggest economic development project is probably within this area is going to be Vista Field. And that's going to be, we have to be at the table. And that's the primary thing is with this, that you have to be open and willing to meet with people, whether it's knowing what urban growth areas are, growth management, working on comprehensive plans, but most important, working with the private sector, because they're the ones that are investing the time and money that are going to make the quality of life for this area better.
Thank you. Mr. Small.
In regards to economic development, I am very, very supportive in economic development. But make no mistake about this. As far as Benton County or the county itself, per RCW, cannot create economic development or jobs. But however, what we can do is create the conditions. And what we've done, and I'm very proud to say this, we actually have a great relationship with the different entities within Benton County, from TRIDEC to different different economic developments to include private sectors, these types of things. But however, we partner with people who are very qualified that are specifically focused on economic development for the ports. In regards to Benton Port, we have the Kennewick Port, the Richland ports, these types of entities, that's their primary focus. And once again, I'm very proud to state that we actually have a great workingship with them. We issue them funds, we actually sit at the table and go forward to make this community what it is today.
Thank you. I have one more question for you both. And Mr. Small, you'll go first. Benton County has experienced considerable growth in the past 20 years. Do you think our current 3-commissioner form of government is meeting the needs of the county, or would you support the concept of a home rule charter that could possibly better structure county government?
That is a very good question. In regards to the charters, I actually looked at that upon taking office. And then I have found that actually a majority of different counties that were charters before, they actually came back to the charter of 3, actually the commissioners of 3, just for the simple fact that it's actually very difficult to divide these up. You know, and the bottom line is it does not matter in regards of who's District 1, who's District 2, who's District 3. I am District 2. I'm very proud of being and representing District 2. You know, so therefore I have a very good working relationship with those areas, those people in District 2. But the bottom line is I go clear out to Findlay. I go out to Richland, these types of areas, so I can share to find out what's going on within the other districts. At this time, I would say that actually Benton County is growing, but it's not to the point now we're just reaching 200,000. And it's not to the point we need to go and get more commissioners.
Mr. Dalton?
Thank you. I am in favor of expanding. I believe that we need 5 commissioners, that we need 2 from Kennewick, we need 2 from Richland, West Richland, we need 1 from Prosser Benton City area. I believe that in the district, the ward systems, that you are able to represent your areas with where you're at. You know, that's probably one of the biggest reasons that, you know, I've challenged Sean and Max 4 years ago. Why I'm challenging again is the fact that my district, I'm District 2, but I'm at the bottom end. I'm Tri-City Heights, I'm the Civic Center, the airport, the Justice Center, through here. Where my area is and where the other area is, that they're not the same. That they're not what's going on. That I believe that we also need more than 3 people, with the way the county is getting, that we need more than 3 people making decisions. I looked at meetings in 2013 when my opponent was chair. At 23% of the meetings, they either didn't have them or they had 2 people. At 23 meetings, 2 people making decisions for the county this size. I'm not in favor of that. I'm in favor of, you know what, if we took $300,000 for what the commissioners are making, divided that, put 5 people, broke that down to half of the pay, $50,000, you're $250 plus maybe $50,000 on benefits, you're actually saving money and you have better representation through the process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you both for answering those questions. We'll now do closing statements, and Mr. Dalton, please go first.
Oh, thank you. Again, I want to thank you for having us here tonight. You know, I believe these are very important forums within the political process. You know, Over the next 4 years, Benton County is going to face a variety of issues with public health, mental health, infrastructure, economic development, that I'm looking to bring the role that I play now as executive director, my organizational management skills, the partnership skills in building relationships to the table. That's what we're going to need. With this public safety tax that went into play, you know, we're going to need large mental health facilities, transition centers through there. I'm working with neuropsych program, mental health transition, a variety of areas. But you know what? We need to be looking, my opponent mentioned budgeting. That, you know what, when we're looking at budgeting, we have to be looking at strategic planning over the next course of the years. We have to be looking at growth. Where are we going? Are we just planning a budget to get by 2 years, or are we planning a budget that will help us grow? That's what the private sector does every day. And that's what we in government need to take accountability, responsibility to make that happen. The other thing I'm really in favor of, and I want to push in my term, will be central meetings. I want to get out of, Prosser, really involve the people. I want to commend the port the other night for having night meetings. That's what we need to do, is get more people involved in the process and not less. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Small?
Well, thank you. And once again, yes, I would too would actually like to thank the League of Women, the Tri-City Herald as well, actually having this debate today. My name is Sean Small, and I am the Benton County Commissioner. Mr. Dalton here has brought up some interesting facts in regards of the water issues that I have actually stepped down and have pushed away the water issue. Let's go and talk about that. Who better than a former state senator, Jerome Delvin, who actually worked on the water issues to handle this water board? I think he is. The bottom line is I'll just throw this up. The three commissioners have such a good relationship that we don't have a problem putting the best foot forward and actually having us address certain things. Once again, Jerome Delvin took care of the water board. Commissioner Jim Beaver, who was the mayor for over 12 years in Kennewick, took over the Vista Field and to sit on that board. Just for the simple fact, we feel that these are the best suitable people here. Now, relationships. I have very good relationships. Why? Just take a look at the paper. Take a look at some of the contacts that I have, like over 1,900 on my phone. And yet the budget, we'll go and hit the budget real quick. Benton County is the only county in Washington that actually came out number one without any financial issues, for the simple fact we do look toward the future. We go to elected board meetings, elected officials meetings to continue to find out how we can do things bigger, better, and stronger. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to thank both candidates running for Benton County Commissioner, District 2, for being here tonight. They are Tim Dalton and Sean Small. So, thank you.